Welcome back here to WLOX, continuing coverage of Snow Day 2025. I'm joined here in the studio by the State Public Safety Commissioner, Sean Tindell. I had to get your title right there, but you live in Gulfport, so you were in the area, and thanks for stopping by with us. And you've just given us an update as far as what's happening with the road conditions right now. You're essentially ahead of the Mississippi Highway Patrol, so it's a busy day for the Highway Patrol out there.
It is, and kudos to our troopers and other law enforcement that are out there on the front lines of this event. You know, it's obvious, unprecedented, I think, for South Mississippi. I've lived here my whole life, and so we just want to encourage everybody to be safe. We do have a number of bridge closures that y'all been talking about. Even on I-10 and other highways, we're seeing certain lanes closed. We're going to encounter, but just wanted to let the public know that they need to be safe and best to stay in. And these conditions obviously aren't going to get much better till tomorrow morning and going into tomorrow afternoon.
Right, we're seeing some video right there of a street, and it is passable if you had to go somewhere, but it's difficult.
It is, and it's accumulating. It's going to continue to do that throughout this afternoon, and then as you know, some of that melts and turns into ice tonight, it's going to get even tougher. And again, some of the bridges are closed, so when you head out, you need to make sure that you can get to wherever you're going and not have to turn around. And like I mentioned, there are portions of I-10, some of the lanes are closed. There's portions of Highway 49, some of those lanes are closed. I think Highway 26 around Wiggins might be closed. And so when folks get out and about, you think you're going to go to town, it's going to be difficult to turn around in these conditions and get back home. So unless you absolutely have to go somewhere, stay home, stay safe, stay warm. Enjoy the snow and let's enjoy this moment.
Yeah, and so, you know, in the far northern parts of the state, they've got a little practice with this. It doesn't happen a lot. It just happened a few weeks ago, though, in North Mississippi. But here in South Mississippi, just people are not used to it. And this is an extremely rare event. So how difficult is it from a standpoint of MDOT and everybody working together to make sure those roads are in okay shape?
We do a good job of trying to coordinate throughout the state and with local law enforcement. I can tell you, I've talked to Director Brad White at MDOT. He and his crews have been putting salt out on the highways, and they started that yesterday. They have the snow plows that they actually brought down from North Mississippi to be ready to clear roads here whenever possible. And of course, local law enforcement and public safety officials in each jurisdiction have the ability to shut down roads as they deem appropriate. So we've been working on the state part, trying to make sure that all those roads are open. But again, there's going to come moments where we have to close due to wrecks, due to ice forming, black ice on the bridges. And it is unprecedented when you think about North Mississippi not really being impacted by this. We have driver service stations throughout the whole state. It's really only our southern region that is closed. Everything Jackson and north is open today, and it's business as usual.
Yeah, where's the line? Is it, are we seeing impacts in Hattiesburg and between Hattiesburg and Jackson? Is that kind of where the line is?
That's where the line. We've shut everything down south of Highway 84, which runs around Brookhaven, McGee, and on south. So that's kind of the line right there. And there was a little bit of snow flurries, I think, coming in Jackson, but nothing like what we're seeing here today. Heck, I was in Colorado 3 weeks ago, and I'm not sure I saw this kind of snow.
Yeah, that's what, and I've heard, you know, there's parts of the country that usually get a lot of snow, that we're getting more snow today than they've seen this year, which is just incredible to think about. And you mentioned that some equipment is being brought from the northern part of the state to help plow the roads. Do you have the numbers, how many plow trucks and that kind of thing are being used?
Well, you know, in Mississippi, we don't keep as many as they do in Colorado and other parts of the country, but we do have them readily available, and I don't know the exact numbers. Director White told me that they basically took all their assets that they could from the northern part of the state and have them down here ready to go to start clearing roads so that, you know, people can get back to normal life as quick as possible.
Yeah, and how much of a concern is it for you, the fact that overnight the temperature is going to be extremely cold? What's out there is likely going to stay frozen overnight. How big of a challenge is that going to be?
That's a big concern, and obviously when people wake up tomorrow, they might not see the snow, so they think they can get out and about and go to work. And some people are going to have to, but you know, you need to be mindful that, especially as you approach bridges and turns, that ice could have formed on the road, and particularly underneath the snow, and that's going to help you get in a bad situation real fast if you're not paying attention. So we encourage folks again to stay home. Our plan is to close all our driver services and non-essential employees and those offices down tomorrow as well. because we don't want anybody to get hurt, trying to come to a driver service station or any of our employees to get hurt. And again, kudos to our law enforcement, because if you get out there and you get in an accident, they're going to be the ones on the side of the road with you trying to offer that assistance. And not only do you put yourself in peril, you put them in peril in those types of events, especially in these types of conditions.
Right. We know the law enforcement are ready to respond. But if you get into an accident, how difficult is it going to be maybe for law enforcement, ambulance to get there? It's going to be difficult. It might be much longer than usual.
That's right. And it's much like we experienced in a hurricane. There is a point where law enforcement tells folks just you're going to have to hunker down and we'll get to you when we can safely get to you. Now, I imagine that should anybody get in any sort of accident tonight, law enforcement will get there as quick as they can. It might just take them a little bit longer than usual. I was talking to some of our folks at Mississippi Power in the Southern Company, and of course they do a great job in emergency responses, having their team ready to restore power. And they were trying to figure out which roads were closed, which bridges were closed, keeping them up to date. So again, when you get out on that road, you might be thinking you're going down the road to the Walmart, but you might have to turn around because that bridge isn't accessible, and you're going to be limited on your ability to turn around.
Right. Well, Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tindell, thanks so much for stopping in and giving us a nice update. And really quick, any trouble spots, any accidents you'd heard about or anything, any problems out there?
We've had a number of accidents. I was on a conference call earlier with the chief of Long Beach, and he had a number of accidents in his jurisdiction. I know I've got a report from Highway Patrol Troop K, and we probably had about 20 accidents that we have already responded to today. So, people are getting out there, their cars are sliding and they're bumping into each other, and then we've got to respond. So the best thing to do, if you can, is stay home, build a snowman, drink some hot coffee and hot cocoa, and enjoy very limited thing, once in a lifetime occurrence here in the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Enjoy looking out the window, and it is quite the sight to see. All right, and you got kids. I know they're excited today.
Oh yeah, we've had a snow day that they'll remember the rest of their lives.
Well, good, making the most of it. Sean Tindell, thanks for joining us here, and be safe out there.
Yeah, y'all too. Thank you.
We'll be in touch as well.